Hi, this is Mr. Groh. We're going to be working on some of those application problems today. So, the first one we'll start with is number 4 on your sheet, which is the one about the hot air balloon. Okay, so make sure you read fully the question that we're talking about. So, we're in a hot air balloon, which is 300 feet off the ground. Okay? Now, just for speed's sake, we're not going to spend a lot of time on our picture. So 300 feet is how far you are off the ground. Now, you were watching your grandma jump on the trampoline. Okay? If the angle of depression of your grandma is 59 degrees 30 minutes when she's at the top of the jump and 59 degrees when she's at the bottom of the jump. So your grandma's down here jumping, and we've got an angle of depression to the top and an angle of depression to the bottom. Now, we don't generally want to talk about angles of depression. We want to mess with the angle of elevation. So, we're going to let this one be the 59. Now, we don't want to deal with it in minutes, but we want to change it to a decimal, degrees. So, 59.5 degrees at the top and even 59. What we're really looking for here is this height. I'm going to let that be y. You can choose whatever variable you want to. Now, the kind of key to this problem is if this height is y, then this height right here is also y. Okay? So, if that's y, now we want to set up some sort of relationship. Now, the hypotenuse is different for both of them, so we don't want to mess with the hypotenuse. We want to deal with the trig functions that actually have both the sides that we're looking for. So, we've got our opposites and the adjacents are the same. So we're going to start with tangent. Now, we haven't labeled this, but let's let it be x. Both x. So if we start with, it really doesn't matter which one we start with. Let's start with the bottom one. So if we take the tangent of 59.5, we have our opposite over our adjacent. So equals, let's make sure this is just in frame. We really need a cameraman sometimes. Our opposite, which is 3,000, over our adjacent, which is x. Okay. And then if we use our other equation, we've got the tangent of 59. Now, the difference here is this opposite here. It's not 3,000. 3,000 is for the whole thing. This little part here is y. I can label this another variable, but it's really just the difference between the whole length, which is the 3,000, and if you took off this bottom half. So we're going to let that be 3,000 minus y over the adjacent, which is x. Now, if there's any time that you're not sure, like what I just did there, just take a rewind real quick and revisit that last step. Alright, so now if I look at this, I should be able to solve for either variable because I have two equations and I've got two variables, and that's really what I need. Now, actually, you can simply solve for x and then we can find our y, which is what we're looking for. Okay? So, if we find our x in our first equation, we want to multiply both sides by x. So we end up getting x to be equal to about, if we solve this equation, and we've done this a couple times in class, so take your time and solve it real quick. Maybe you have to pause this. We should get x to be 1,767.135. Now, one of the things you can do is in your calculator, store that into x if you wanted to. So the operation that you're going to have to do here is 3,000 divided by the tangent of 59.5. So if I want to just store that in my calculator, let's see how this works out, okay? Oh, I don't think you can see it. It's too dark. That stinks. Do the operation and hit the store key down at the bottom left of your calculator, which I'll put up a video to show you how to do that in a little bit. So we get our x, just you don't want to round it much. That's the only reason why I'm talking about using the store key at all. So once we have our x, we now want to find our y. So in this equation, we got the tangent of 59 equals 3,000 minus y over the x value. So don't want to round really, so keep it in as an answer or the stored x. But 1,767.135, and we're really just solving for y. So multiply both sides by the number times 1,767.135, and then you're going to subtract 3,000. The final answer you should get for this, at least what I got, is approximately 59 feet, which gives your grandma quite the jumps here. Alright? If you need to see this again, rewind it and play it again. Thanks, guys.